You're watching Capital Jazz TV. We are on the SuperCruise IX. One of the headliners that shut the ship down is Mr. Raul Midón. How are you, Raul?
Oh, very good, thank you.
Raul, I got to tell you, last night when we all experienced your show, you shut it down by yourself. It was amazing. You didn't have a band. Do you typically perform by yourself with all the instruments that you play?
I do. I've been, I guess, for the past few years, mostly playing solo. But I'm starting to do some more collaborating. I'm kind of getting. So I'm always going to be doing the solo thing. But yeah, that's where I sort of, my bread and butter, I guess. But yeah. I'm starting to do stuff with different people and bands and stuff as well. So.
You brought Frank McComb on stage and shut the place down.
Yeah,
This was your first time meeting Frank?
Yeah. I mean, I've known about Frank for a long time through a mutual friend, Richard Bona.
Okay.
And I do one of his tunes. Richard and Frank wrote a tune together. And when Richard and I toured, we did one of the tunes. I think Frank wrote the words to it.
Oh, wow.
And so I knew about Frank, and I heard him, but when I saw him live, it was just like just kind of blew my mind, really.
And how have you been enjoying the Super Cruise? How's it been going for you so far?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, this is such a wonderful thing because it is a convergence of the African diaspora as far as music goes. You've got the Cross Africa thing, you got R&B, you got some straight ahead jazz people, you got smooth jazz, you got hip hop. I mean, it's really, that makes it interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah.
That you have all of this, and it's all sort of comes from, if you want to say the African or African American experience genres, but it's all tied together by that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So with the African diaspora, it's very interesting because it's like every room is completely different. We had gospel. You were able to kind of jump in on a Stevie Wonder. I mean, it's just been it's just been amazing, and you just jumping in and joining these jam sessions have been great as well. I've got to admit, it's been great as well. One of the things, when I was at your show yesterday, one of the ladies standing next to me, you were doing a technique where you were playing the horn without playing a horn.
Right.
Like there was no horn, but we all heard a horn. Is that a technique? Is that something that where did you get that? How did you do that? She was like, how does he do this? I didn't even know how to answer.
Well, it's use the voice, and you use your lips sort of in the shape of a horn. But really, the thing that makes it work, the thing that takes it beyond gimmick status to me, is that I'm a musician, so I approach improvisation, whether it's with the vocal horn or whether it's with the guitar or whatever, in the way that a musician would do it. So it's not just a kind of make a sound and get people to applaud. It's a musical instrument. So I look at it and I practice things that a horn player would practice. So articulation. All the sort of scales that any musician would practice. So then when it comes to improvising, you're making different choices. You're not just sort of, it's a level beyond the sort of normal vocal scatting that people do.
Exactly. And so as far as your instruments, you play a number of instruments. You songwrite, you produce, you're even in the business of music. What do you enjoy the most? What makes you want to get up in front of people and perform? What do you enjoy the most about your creative expression?
Well, I really enjoy writing, and recording. I enjoy being able to get up in front of people and give them a sense of who I am through what I write. You know, when you write and perform, you're sort of giving people a piece of your worldview, your philosophy of life, the way you look at things. All of that you can sort of put into it when you write and play your own songs. So that's why, you know, I love doing covers, and of course I'm influenced by all kinds of people. But for me, you know, my primary purpose is to play and sing, you know, my own songs.
Your music that you've written yourself.
Yeah.
All of your original music. One of the songs I enjoyed was the song that you sang about after you moved to New York with that you played last night when you said that you received a record deal. And
Yeah, everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was literally the song that you know, sort of put me over. You know, it's kind of a strange thing. I did sort of an old school thing when I moved to New York. It's very different. Most people get a lawyer or a manager to like shop their demos around.
Right.
And you know, eventually somebody likes it and gives them either record deal or demo deal or something like that. But when I moved to New York, I actually went into people's offices and played. So it was very different from what people do. So I was in Arif Mardin's office. He was, at that time, he was, you know, he had produced all this stuff, but he was also now an executive at Blue Note. So,
Right.
So that song kind of put me over the top, you know.
And it's interesting that you're talking about a record deal because you're also an advocate for independent music.
Absolutely. Well, you know, that's a different time. And now I'm, you know, at the highest level, I suppose a record deal could still be something desirable, but it just doesn't mean what it used to mean.
Yes.
And you know, artists have the ability now to do their own. I mean, I have the ability to record and produce my own music on a high level, on a professional level, not like a home recording that then you can go into the studio and fix it.
Right.
I am a recording engineer as well now, so it's like, okay, so they're not going to record your record. You don't even need them to distribute your record.
Right.
So the only thing that a record label could do for you is major marketing. And most of the time they don't do that. So if they don't do that, they're useless as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, absolutely.
That is such real talk.
They're useless. If they don't really market you, because that's the one thing that costs money that's very difficult for an independent artist to do, you know, so that's why it's kind of like, okay, a small record label versus a large record label. Well, how much marketing are you going to get? That's really the only reason.
Need.
That's the only reason to sign a record deal.
Right. I totally agree with you. It is definitely what you really need is to get you, and it's not even, I'm talking national marketing. Because
international marketing.
Yeah, international marketing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting thing. It isn't the slam dunk that it used to be.
Right.
I need to get signed. You know, it's not what it used to be. And of course, the other thing that I always say is, if you write your own songs, for God's sakes, don't give up your publishing. You know, don't give up your publishing.
Words from Raul himself. Very good advice. Very good advice for the artist the aspiring artist that's trying to get out there right now. Talk to me about your album, though. Your heavy hitter album that was released in 2014?
Yeah.
Yep. So the name of the album, if you could share and tell people where they could pick it up.
It's called Don't Hesitate, and well, they can go to my website. It's on Mack Avenue Records, and it has a bunch of people that I called, and they all said yes, which was pretty cool because this was the first time as a producer I had to make all the phone calls.
And that's another thing about being independent.
Absolutely, you got to make all the phone calls.
You got to call Liz right personally on the cell phone.
So I got Liz. I wrote a song with Liz, and we did do a duet there. I wrote a song with Bill Withers, and I do that with Marcus Miller playing bass.
Yes.
And I also, one of my favorite singers in the world, Diane Reeves, we did I got her to sing on the song as well.
Yeah.
And then Richard Bona, we wrote a song together,
Right.
and we play, and well, he plays, and I sing a song that we wrote together on the record. So
Yes.
yeah, it's
a fantastic album. It's a fantastic album. And people should definitely pick it up on your website. It's also available on iTunes.
It is iTunes.
iTunes and Amazon.
I think you can get Amazon, all that, yeah, absolutely.
All those distribution channels, as we call it.
Yeah.
So tell us, what can we expect from Raul? What's coming next?
Man, there's a lot going on. I'm working on like 3 albums at the same time right now. There's I did some recording with a Metropole Orchestra, which hopefully will come out. I'm working on a record of guitar, just guitar, and then I'm working on another record of songs. So we'll see.
This album with guitar, is it a collaboration with other guitarists?
Yeah. It's kind of an idea that's just taking shape, but I want to do an album with just guitar and guitarists that I've always loved and guitarists that I've always admired, and kind of get them to contribute and no singing, just guitar.
Sneak peek, we'll get it here at Capitol Jazz. I'm going to make sure of that. I'll be calling for that. And how do people keep in contact with you, either on Facebook or any social media?
Yeah, there's
for your
Facebook.
tours?
There's my website, of course, and it's all the same stuff that everybody else does.
Got it. Well, we are so delighted to have you here on the SuperCruise IX. Raul, thank you so much for sharing your talent with us last night. You were incredible, and we'll continue to see you throughout the cruise.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. This is Jodine with Raul Midón here at SuperCruise IX on Capitol Jazz TV.